Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. A lot going on yesterday behind the scenes, like the jury spent this much time listening to evidence. I don't know what the heck they were doing the rest of the time. I would have had to bring my yarn because I cannot sit for hours and hours and hours wondering what's going on, what are they doing? And that's what was happening yesterday. But I listened to someone who was inside of the courtroom, and I'm going to tell you what was happening behind the scenes. Don't go anywhere, because this is not an episode you're going to want to miss. Welcome back, everybody. Holy japers, it's cold out there. Yes, goodness gravy. Let me explain to you this. I'm going to get to the evidence. Don't go anywhere. But sometimes I talk about me because this is my channel. This is a converted garage, my studio and my craft room. And it is drafty, to say the least. So the amount of time I spent out here yesterday would be equivalent to the amount of time the jury heard evidence yesterday. This much time. Yeah. Long enough for me to run out here, grab some stuff, and run back up into my warm lounge chair out in the living room in front of my TV. So some game playing got done yesterday. Some crafting got done. No crime, because barely anything went on in the courtroom yesterday in front of the jury. So what I did was I listened to a woman named, her name is Gigi. She is actually in the courtroom listening to this trial. She lives in South Carolina. Her channel is Pretty Lies and Alibis. Shout out to you, girl. You do a fantastic job, and keep it up. I've watched her channel grow, and I'm so proud of her. So she covered live in person for Law and Crime, the Alex Murdaugh case. So she is present in the courtroom for this Zachary Hughs case. I'm sorry, brain fart. It happens when you get old. Zachary Hughs case. So why are we here? The state of South Carolina has put Zachary Hughs on trial for allegedly murdering Christina Parcell. She was having a relationship with a man named Bradley Post. He is the one that discovered her body on October 13th of 2021, roughly 1 year after her daughter, Christina Parcell's daughter's father, had left with her, took her to Italy. She gets her back about 6 months prior to the murder. She gets her back into the country, repatriated. But what is going on behind the scenes that the jury has not heard about? Now, this is a chance for the defense to put on their case. And I'm like, yay, we're going to hear from the defendant. We're going to, I told you what my hypothesis was, that maybe he was under the undue influence of John Mello. That's not where they went with this. No, they went that he, and they've admitted it. He did this murder. I mean, I don't think there was any doubt in anybody's mind that he did the murder, but they admitted it. He did the murder, but here's why. In defense of another person, which you can do if that person is in imminent danger. And the judge ruled yesterday, so this is why the jury didn't come in, because they were having this argument about what can this Zachary Hughs testify to when he takes the stand, because he plans to take his stand. He wants to tell his story. So first, let me tell you, before I get to what was going on behind the scenes, I waited in long crime chat and waited. No explanation of why there was no video feed till almost noon. And then I switched over to Gigi's feed. She's just monitoring long crime chat as well. And in her chat, she kept coming in to say what was going on behind the scenes. And then I listened to her show last night where she did recap what occurred behind the scenes. So they did come back around, I'm going to say 12 o'clock their time, with an opening statement. And in this opening statement, I'm thinking, okay, here we go. We're ready to roll. We've been sitting all these hours. What's he got to say? Quote, he took the life of Christina Parcell. I'm like, oh, case is over. Guilty. But he's been waiting. He's been waiting for 3 years and 3 months to tell you why. We could have attacked the bicycle thing. They're saying they brought in an expert to make it look like he was 6'5", and he goes, I'm 5'10". Zach's shorter than I am, which surprised me a little. I got the impression Zach was a tall person. I guess I was wrong. Maybe because of his build. I don't know. And anyway, we could have attacked the fact that they said he had a beard. The guy on the bicycle had a beard. Well, you can see my client's clean shaven before the murder. You can see that he's clean shaven after the murder. When did he grow this beard? But we're not arguing that. We could have attacked or challenged Miss Gladys Kravitz, the woman that was having her coffee and looking out her window and said she swore she saw a guy on a bicycle and that's the man, even though whoever it was she saw could not have been Zach Hughs, because Zach wasn't even in the neighborhood at time of morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock. He didn't get in that neighborhood until around 9 anyway. But we're not going to go there. Why not? Because Zach wants to testify. He wants to get up in front of you and tell you why he committed this murder. So he explains some law to the jury. Murder, is the killing of someone with malice aforethought. That's fancy language. Malice aforethought. What the heck does that mean? That means you intentionally did a wrongful act. You intentionally committed this murder. You intentionally stabbed Christina Parcell 35 times without just cause or excuse, like for no reason, which is the case that we've seen. You went in there. But malice also implies, if you believe the prosecution, that he had an angry heart. He goes, no, it's not an angry heart. He didn't have an angry heart. But I want you to get insight into his heart and find out why these killings happened. What was the just cause or excuse for these murders? So he talked about, Zach grew up in California for a brief period of time. Then his parents moved him and his brother to Virginia. Then when he was in high school, then they adopted 5 orphans. Then they moved to Greenville, South Carolina when he was in high school. Then he talks about he went on to college and he said he was a musician, and he did talk about not just college, Juilliard. Now, was there a motion to keep the name Juilliard out? Why wouldn't you want to tell the jury this is a classically trained pianist sitting here who, I don't know, anyway, not that that's an excuse, but anyway, he learned the value of hard work and discipline. That was because they were on a farm up in Virginia. He won several piano competitions, and at the time of this murder, he was an accomplished pianist who was performing and recording his music. That's what they know about Zach Hughs. Not that he went to Juilliard, not that his primary interest was memorizing Beethoven's concertos, and playing them all 31, one right after the other, is incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. So obviously a very smart guy too. So after this opening, the first person on the stand is a guy that a sheriff's deputy that had taken the stand before, who is now when he took the stand the first time, he testified about, he's an investigator now. He testified about Christina Parcell and Brad Post coming to him with these envelopes. And he met with them with the postal inspector. That was from day 2 or 3, I guess. We heard that testimony. My question after that testimony was, what happened to that investigation? Was there ever an arrest made? Because the postal inspector had said he was there for the purpose of seeing if any federal charges could be brought. Were there ever any federal charges? Don't know. So now we find out when he's on the stand that he has a background, after he got out of patrol and into being a detective. One of his jobs as a detective over these many years has been in the sexual exploitation of minor division, the child division. In fact, that's where he was in 2018. Remember, he gave testimony that he had met, this is not the first time he had met with Brad Post and Christina Parcell in 2021 when they brought him the envelopes. He had met them before, back in 2018, but we never heard why. Well, we're still not going to hear why. We just know that at 2018, he was in that abuse unit. I'll tell you later on what was going on there. Don't let me forget. Okay. So he moves along and he said, he talks about the web page that was found within the envelopes that he investigated in 2021 or I don't know when it was, 2019, when they brought him these envelopes. I don't know. It was 2021. Yeah. I'm confused. And it mentions a URL, and he talked about having gone to that URL. The website was not active anymore. He was redirected to a different website. Never found any photos of Christina Parcell online, but admits on stand that, yes, there could be photos of her on another site that we don't know about. Okay. And I'm thinking, this is what you brought him back for? What? It's not. Then when he is done, again, jury sent out to lunch, I think. I don't remember if it was lunch at that time. At some point, they got, I don't know if they heard any more testimony for the rest of the day. That was it. An opening that lasted, 10 minutes tops. This witness that lasted 10 minutes tops. So what we find out was going on behind the scenes is that Zach wanted to do a defense that is called in the defense of others, which I explained to you. He can do if that other person was in imminent danger. His argument was that the daughter, the 9-year-old daughter, was in imminent danger of abuse, sexual abuse in this case. And the judge is like, nuh-uh, she was at school. There's no way. She's not being abused at school. So I guess it depends on your definition of imminent. But Zach felt like this child was in imminent danger. So the judge is like, nope, you can't use that defense. No. So they're like, well, we would like to bring in our witnesses, ask them what we, in other words, proffer the testimony we would have gotten in front of the jury. So the judge says, can you just summarize it? So they did kind of a summary of here's what we would have asked if you had allowed us to bring in these witnesses. And they were prepared to bring in John Mello, the daughter, who is now 15. They were prepared to bring those witnesses in support of what they wanted to get in to this case. So that's why the jury, and all of this has to do with an appeal that will happen later on. They're going to go to the appellate court in South Carolina, and who knows what South Carolina appellate court will ever do, because the law in South Carolina is totally weird. They got some shenanigans going on over there, really. And here's what the jury would have heard had we been allowed to put on this defense Supreme Court. And then they'll have to make a ruling about whether this was an inadequate defense. So let me go back a little ways. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so that was the opening statement. So had this officer that I talked about before actually been allowed to testify, he would have told us. Remember I said, remind me to come back to this? He would have told us that in 2018, he gets notified by John Mello that the daughter is being abused by Christina Parcell and Brad Post. However, it's investigated, it's unfounded. Okay. But on the 19th of October, 3 days after the murder, he becomes the lead investigator, not in the murder case, but in the sexual exploitation case that evolves out of material found at the home of Christina Parcell during the murder investigation. So, and is based on stuff that was on Brad Post's cell phone. Once they find this stuff on his cell phone, they get other additional electronic devices from the home, from that bedroom that was the child's bedroom, the pink one, that all have additional material on them. Based on that, he's charged with criminal sexual conduct in the third degree, which is a violent crime, and buggery. What the heck is buggery? I heard that term on Outlander. Jamie used it on Claire. If you don't know Outlander, I'm going to digress for a second. When she slept with John, when they thought Jamie was dead, so John married her, and then they had to sleep together, but we know John's gay. So buggery happened there, which is not the way they're using it in South Carolina. I'm just going to tell you. That means a whole different thing on that show, but that's what it reminded me of. Anyway, buggery in this case is sex with an animal. Okay, pick up your jaws. What? Oh my God. I didn't see that. I didn't see this case going there. I really, really didn't. Okay, so when he became the head of the investigation, he became aware that there were these images. So he verified the image. He goes and he looks at the images and he makes the arrest. Then they find out that one of the places Brad hangs out is this cigar bar in South Carolina. So they go, and Bradley Post has a locker at this cigar bar. Now, I don't know anything about cigar bars or why you would have a locker there. I guess to keep your cigars in a humid condition, which not a bad idea, I guess. So anyway, this cigar bar, he's got a locker. They get a warrant. They go in and they find multiple devices in this locker. Thumb drives, hard drives, all with Christina Parcell participating in the abuse. Here's what the devices had on them. One of them had 4,000 images and 48 videos. That's one device. Device number 2, 2,000 images, over 2,000 images, and 137 videos. Device number 3, 1,500 images, 81 videos. Device number 4, 3,700 images, 47 videos. The next device, 1,826 images, 2,000. The next device, 2,400 images, 136 videos. I'm not done. Next device, 134 images. The next device, 36 images, 4 videos. Now, I don't know the stuff that I just told you. I don't know which ones, if those came from the locker, the phone, but the computer, but that all of those devices, that's what was on all of those devices. And that's what the defense wanted the jury to hear. This child was being abused. They bring in a psychologist to talk about sexual exploitation, abuse of a minor, and how that affects the minor. It actually can change their DNA. This is what he would have testified to. And he's put a lot of time into this case at great expense to the defense. Then they put on the guardian ad litem. Remember, I don't think I told you though, before the cross-examination occurred of the guardian ad litem, remember she said we were left with, I would have recommended that she stay with mom. And then cross-examination. What happened there was over an hour they were sidebar or outside the presence of the jury arguing about what more they could get this woman to say that the judge would allow in. So they bring this woman back to proffer to the judge. Here's what she would have said. And she would have said that apparently there was a deposition at some point where Parcell admits to having participated in a porn video, that Bradley Post would not agree to meet with her, although she felt like he might have been bankrolling some of her family law attorneys. In her mind, she could not figure out, why would Christina give up custody of this daughter? Why is she giving up custody? And that's something I always thought. Why did she give up custody of her? So then she became aware of the images after the murder. She became aware of the images and had the child placed in emergency custody. As soon as she said they were horrific. These images were horrific. Had she known about these images prior to the murder, that would not have been her recommendation to stay with mom. Oh, no. Oh, no. She would have removed the child immediately. She didn't know until after the murder. So who knew? Well, that's the question that the judge is posing. There's no evidence that Zachary Hughs knew about all this stuff. We can infer that he had this relationship with John Mello, and that John Mello knew from conversations with his daughter, and that he was communicating that to Zach Hughs. But that's all inference upon inference, and is not evidence. Yeah. So that is where it was left yesterday. So interesting. So interesting. Zach is still planning to take the stand, despite not being able to put on this defense. I don't know what are they going to say to the jury now? Because if Zach's plan was to get on the stand and say, I did it because I was defending that daughter, and the judge has said, no, you can't, no, you can't, we're not going there. What's he going to say? I have no clue, but that's what's on. In fact, I've already looked. He's testifying as we speak. I'm going to go monitor it for you, and I will recap that for you. I don't know where else the defense can go with this, to be honest with you. At this point, they have put as much information in front of this jury as they can possibly get in front of this jury that has hinted that we know Brad Post is in jail. I'm just talking as a juror. I know he's in jail because I saw him in an orange jumpsuit. As a juror, I'm saying to myself, we know he was arrested based on something that was found on his phone. Probably even know they had something to do with the daughter. So are they going to be able to add it all up without actually getting all of that evidence in front of them? Now, apparently, one of the motions was that the defense be allowed to describe what was on these videos and images, and the judge's like, nope, not going to do that either. And according to Gigi, they were described, or I don't know if she saw them or there was descriptions of them, but she said stuff that she wouldn't even want to repeat. It was that horrific and graphic. Yeah, that horrific. Oh. like my mind can't even grasp where to go with this. It's just, yeah. Anyway, not a nice woman. Is the jury going to infer that she was involved somehow? Is that would be another inference that they'd have to make? I don't know. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the cold weather and the snow. We're snowed in. 8 inches of snow yesterday. So not going anywhere. Have a wonderful day. I will be live tonight at 7 p.m. Craft with me Wednesday. You guys, I am in the mosaic on the sweater. If you want to see the progress, pop in and I'll show you how I'm doing on that. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.